fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis from the Daily Caller, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, this is Taylor, and while you're listening to all the other great shows here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, be sure to check out my show on Saturday nights called Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. You never know what we're going to talk about. It's always a fun time. That's Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Welcome back to it's the last half hour, I can't believe it, of the right mics, running along at a record pace. Again, 412-567-6879 if you wish to opine, as Rush says. So, Howsam, before we leave Kerry, because we were talking about, whether or not Bibi is going to, how high on on Netanyahu's list Kerry would be to visit when he comes here, right? So did you see where Kerry, he compares the treatment of Muslims, the Imam, by the way, the Imam Heinz Kerry, compared the treatment of Muslims in Europe to the treatment of blacks in America during the 60s civil rights era?
Yeah, because that's a good comparison.
Well, it's an excellent comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it's funny is that his comment about it, and this was via the Weekly Standard, again via Zip, and I'll tweet that in just a second. The comment that
go ahead and read it, man. Yeah.
Oh shoot. I'm looking at an ad for
I can
New Testament. No, you read it because I'm trying to get through this stupid ad.
Okay, so he says, after explaining that although the U.S. has made, quote, unbelievable progress on race-related matters, quote, we still have some distance to travel. And then he, later on, this particular incident of violence, he's talking about the terror attack in Paris, wasn't a specific targeting that grew out of that lack of integration. However, so he still doesn't mention it, a specific targeting that grew, no. However, he said, there is work to do where, quote, and this is referring directly to Europe and the Muslims, where, quote, one minority or another is not able to share fully in the integration in the country in which they live. Now, just think about the idiocy of that for just a second. We've talked about this before, just as it relates to many Hispanics that come to this country, and which is nowhere near the level of what's going on in Europe.
Well, the other thing about it is that I guess one of my questions that immediately comes to mind is what race are the Muslims?
Well, I mean, they can be Arabs, they can be Persians.
Well, that's the point, is that the civil rights struggle here in the States, he does a little bit of a shift to speaking of them as minorities. So that's the common ground as opposed to a racial thing. But I mean, Islam is not a race-based idea or a race-based religion.
No,
it's a religion-based religion. So you could be white, brown, green, orange, yellow, black, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. When he uses the term minority, I don't think he's. He tries to conflate it with blacks in the U.S., but he's talking about them as, if you will, a religious minority, if you want to use that term. But definitely as a minority, growing minority, by the way, and just check off the countries: Great Britain, France, Germany, Scandinavia, throughout Europe. So that's what.
Yeah, and I get that, but the flaw in the argument is this: is that for the civil rights struggle, for the issue in America, the fundamental problem that people had with blacks was their skin color. The fundamental problem that some in Europe have with Muslims is the fact that they're killing other people for not obeying Sharia law. I mean, for the most part, the blacks were agitating in the South primarily during the civil rights era because they were being treated poorly, whereas they were other than wanting equal treatment under the law and to be treated like full citizens and to be treated like human beings. If not for that, they would have just left people alone, living their lives.
No question.
That's exactly precisely the opposite of what the Muslims are doing.
Well, exactly. And the flaw in the argument, as you say, is the argument itself. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Listen, so this got me concerned and thinking, all right? So Mom Heinz Carey comes out with his wisdom. So, dude, I did a Google search, right? So I searched comparisons between Muslims in Europe and blacks in America during the civil rights era. And, dude, I was dumbfounded by what I did not find. Maybe I missed something, but I couldn't find one instance of suicide bombing. Could not find one instance of blacks in the South sawing off the heads of whites, and just down the line, no beheadings. I mean, I was astonished. And Kerry must obviously know a lot more about this than you and I do.
Well, maybe that goes without saying on just about everything. Then perhaps.
Yeah, I think.
Well, this immediately raises a question: is Kerry going to run for president?
You know what? I wish he would, but no, I think he's pretty much done with that.
Huh. That would be interesting to have Kerry running against Pocahontas or Hillary.
Yeah, and I think Kerry's out. He made such a jackass out of himself last time. Remember what was the? I was against the war before I was for it. Remember that?
Yeah, right.
And all the pictures of him windsurfing Martha's Vineyard. And, I thought it was hilarious, by the way, that, just, again, point out again the hypocrisy of the left. That they chastised Mitt Romney for being a multimillionaire. Mitt having made his money honestly and legally, whether the left liked what he did with Bain Capital or not, but nary a peep about Kerry marrying his money twice. So I don't
Right.
know.
No, you're absolutely
Kerry's a cartoon. I think he's done.
right.
In fact, I think he's done with politics. After this he's just going to retire and spend his money. So go ahead, man.
Well, thinking of, like you were mentioning earlier, governors, and so I'm going to stay within the context of presidential discussion and governor. Scott Walker is now proposing in the state of Wisconsin that anybody who's on food stamps or jobless benefits need to get drug tested. What do you think of that?
I have been for that for as long as I can remember.
Right. If you're going to be dining at the public trough, be drug free.
I mean, to me, that is just common sense. Of course, not on the left.
Right. Now, are there people that are pushing back? What would be an explanation for why would somebody not want that? What would be the argument against? Okay, here it is.
We have to put our liberal hats on. You found one?
No, well, just federal law prohibits it, but that's not an explanation of why.
So let's just noodle on it. I mean, that would be discrimination. Now, again, we're speaking as liberals here. That would be discrimination against people who are down and out and among the most desperate who need our help, Michael. We have to help those who cannot help themselves. And of course, the liberals would throw drug addicts onto that list.
Yeah. Well, it says here that opponents say that the cost is $25 to $75 per test. There's no other explanation for why somebody would oppose drug testing. I bet you if that was polled, I bet you that would be a 70% support.
Or higher. So does it say who pays for the test? Does the addict pay for the test?
No, it doesn't say that. But that's actually a genius idea. Bring your test result. Go get a test taken care of.
Exactly. And listen, even if the government did the test, I'm just guessing without doing the math here that we would save a whole bunch of money, we being the taxpayers, by weeding out addicts and saying no. I'm sorry. Get straight and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So I just Michigan is getting close to doing that. State of Michigan is doing that. Obviously, now Wisconsin is going to do it.
I can't wait for the ACLU, as soon as it happens. I don't know, man. I just go ahead.
So here's a guy that's against it in the state of Michigan. He's saying that it's unconstitutional, but it doesn't give an explanation as to why.
Exactly. You know what? And and I hate to say this, but I just know that at some point along the way, this will be related to racism.
Yeah, well, the explanation, the reason why it was killed in the past is they expect that the cost of testing outweighs the cost of the benefits paid, or the savings of benefits not paid is insufficient to pay for the testing program. It's cheaper to cut this is a study that was done, and that's why in one of the states, state of Virginia, they killed it. That they figured that the cost of implementing the program was 5 times the amount saved in unpaid benefits. So it was cheaper to cut people benefits who were loaded, which I don't think that's the reason why you shouldn't do it.
I don't either, but I would like to see the math on that across the country. And the reason I said I brought the R word into it is because I don't know if it's Al Sharpton or whomever, is going to then point to urban neighborhoods and, how down people are because, they don't have the equal